Hello friends, we'll be discussing the last illustration with the joint ventures program where we'll be understanding how or when this memorandum joint venture account is prepared, how the entries are supposed to be passed here. So now that we understand that in this specific format, we have to prepare a memorandum joint venture account, we have to prepare certain joint ventures or rather joint venture with co-ventures account here. Let us understand few more details on this with the last illustration that we have for your reference. So let's check it out. So the illustration has been mentioned here for your reference. Please check or rather we'll go ahead and read it out for your reference. So the parties to the contract are D and M. They entered into a contract of buying and selling second-hand computers. M was supposed to make the purchases and D was supposed to effect the sales here. Profit and loss was supposed to be shared equally by both of them. A sum of 1,50,000 was remitted by D to M, and that was towards the venture. That means that was the initial contribution by D towards M. Now with that money, M purchased 22 old computers for 1,50,000 and additionally paid 90,000 for their reconditioning. And then he sent it to Delhi. His other expenses included, that means M's other expenses included buying commission expense, which amounted to 10,000, cartage expense, which amounted to 2,000, and miscellaneous expenses that amounted to 1,000. Apart from that, once D took the deliveries, he paid 2,700 for octroi, 1,000 for cartage here. That means once he took the delivery of those goods, he paid that much amount as his expense. Now, once the goods were with D, he sold 12 computers for 22,000 each, 4 computers for 21,000 each, and 3 computers for 20,000 each. He retained the remaining computers with him, and that was at an agreed value of 15,000 here. His other expenses included insurance, which amounted to 2,500, then rent, which was for 4,000, then came brokerage, which was 12,000, and miscellaneous expenses, which amounted to 2,000. Now, each party records their own transaction, which has been mentioned in the question. You're supposed to show the statement showing the final result of the venture. And then you have to prepare the joint venture with M account in the books of D. That means joint venture with M in the books of D is what you have to prepare. So the difference in this question is that we have to show a statement of the final effect of the venture. That means we have to show the actual calculation of what has happened. So let's figure out what do we have here. So basically we have to figure out whether there is profit or loss. That means we need to have the sales amount first, then the expenses will be subtracted from there, and whatever balance is left will be the profit here. So let's check out what exactly it is. So we've mentioned the amount, that means the sales that happened in the order that have been mentioned in the question. 12 computers at 22,000 each, 4 computers at 21,000 each, and 3 computers at 20,000 each. Apart from that, we'll be also mentioning the other computers that were taken over by the co-venturer at an agreed value of 15,000. So let's multiply the total first and figure out what is the actual amount of sales that has happened. So we've mentioned the total amount of sales here. Let's calculate how much is the sales amount. Now, out of this sales amount, we have to subtract all the expenses that we have done. That means all the expenses done by D and M both. So if you can see, the total of expenses has been also derived, that is 277,200, which is less than the sales amount. That means there is a profit here. So let's figure out how much is the profit. So the profit on the venture is 145,800. That has been figured out. Let's go ahead and prepare the joint venture, or rather joint venture account with the co-venturer format. Let's prepare that. So we have prepared the format for joint venture account with M. Now let's mention all the expenses here. Now whatever expenses we are mentioning here, whatever sales will be mentioning here, will be all related to D. Hence, whatever has been done by D will be a part of bank. Whatever has been done by M will be related to his personal account itself. Now, in the book of D, that means whatever expenses, as we have mentioned that each transaction, or rather each venturer, each co-venturer rather, keeps a record of his own transaction. So here we'll be recording only expenses done by D. Now the next is the sales amount and the goods taken over. So the cash sales proceed has been mentioned here. Apart from that, we'll be mentioning the goods taken over as well. Now the profit that was figured out in the statement, out of that half profit is to be a part of D here. So let's mention that profit on the debit side. So D share will be 72,900 here. That has been mentioned down there. Now the only thing that is done or pending in this specific illustration is to figure out the total balance. So let's figure out the interim balance first. The credit side interim balance is 4,23,000. The debit side interim total is 2,47,100. That means the balance will be the balance that is supposed to be remitted. So the balance that is supposed to be figured out or remitted is 1,75,900. So this is what we had to teach you in this kind of illustration. So I hope with this illustration you understand how to prepare the statement of venture, which will show you the final result, that is profit or loss. With this illustration we close this chapter. So thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and keep subscribing to Ekeeda.